Suspicious.
Hi there. About 5 years ago, I made a Thomas Iceberg chart and posted it to my old Twitter account, which was then later covered by TrainBrain06 in a video. Wait, 5 years ago? What the hell happened? Anyway, ever since that video came out, I've spent a while making a new one, and now I finally got one that I'm satisfied with. Constantly adding new entries to it with all the new stuff that's been coming out, especially this year. This Iceberg chart contains about 415 entries of Thomas the Tank Engine and Railway series content, taking inspiration from other icebergs from ASodorLife, Tail Lamp Studios, PRR Fan Does Trains, and Flying Fish Productions, along with gathering a lot of my information from the ever-so-helpful Thomas Wiki and YouTubers like the Unlucky Tug and the Thomas Theorist, among many others. All their socials will be in the description, with a handful of other things too. Please go check them out, they have been big inspirations to me when it came to making this chart and video. Speaking of, as you can see, it's definitely quite big and packed, especially compared to my first one, although this is far from being the biggest Thomas Iceberg chart out there. I think the honor goes to PR Fan Does Trains. I would have liked to release the full thing in one huge video, or even just layers 1 through 3 like I had initially intended to do, but I've decided, to stop me from procrastinating and to get the ball rolling, I'll be uploading the first layer to my channel in hopes of gaining some traction and just so I can get something out. I've been feeling really antsy about this. I mean, when you see how much I gotta go over and the fact the doc I have for this thing has over 100 pages, you could probably guess it would take a while to do all of that in one sitting. Anyway, I would like to note that the editing style will be very different compared to how it looks here and in layer 2, as I made the first layer in the middle of this year as I was learning DaVinci Resolve, so the quality of the editing and whatnot and the way I sound might be a bit jarring, and I apologize for that. I'm making it sound like it's gonna be horrible, but nah, it's fine. It should be. Once layer 2 is finished, I'll be maintaining the same kind of style going forward, but yeah, I'll still be keeping the funny little edits I keep in because I like them. I won't be uploading all of them one layer at a time either, don't worry. I absolutely plan on combining everything into their own videos once I finish them. I think I've rambled on for long enough though. Let's just get this started. Please enjoy this really overdue video that I've been putting off for way too long, and I hope you will look forward to the rest of the layers coming soon. But yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Reverend Wilbert Awdry. Reverend Wilbert Ver Awdry was the author of the Railway series, which the Thomas the Tank Engine show is based on. Born on the 15th of June in 1911 in Romsey, Hampshire, England, Wilbert was not only a clergyman, but also an avid railway enthusiast like his father, Ver Awdry, having many memories and experiences with railways, watching trains on the Great Western Railway by his house, imagining they were alive, and the sounds of chuffing and steam being the engines talking to each other. He would later go on and create stories centered around fictional anthropomorphic engines that you may or may not have heard of, that were inspired by his experiences as a child, along with various stories and history of other railways. As time went on, his series gained popularity in the UK, and he'd work and expand on the history of his series, while also participating in various model railway shows with layouts he created, along with railway preservation. He was even the president of the Dean Forest Railway in 1987, where number 3806, who was named G.B. Keeling at the time, was renamed to Wilbert after the author. Wilbert would pass away on the 21st of March in 1997 at the age of 85. While he may be gone, the legacy Wilbert Awdry left hasn't been, and never will be, forgotten, thanks to the stories he created and shared with millions of us worldwide, whether it be through his books or through the stories adapted in Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. You know this show, I know this show. This is the television series we all know and love, starting on the 9th of September in 1984, created by Britt Allcroft, directed by David Mitton, and all based on Wilbur Awdry's stories. This show is iconic, being watched and loved by millions of people across the world, with its distinct style using model trains on big sets for their stories, which was used from 1984 to 2008. The show had many ups and downs throughout the years, which we'll touch on soon. Even if you've never seen the show, you've at least seen Thomas, and chances are you've most definitely seen it at some point in your childhood, and was probably a big fan of it too. It truly cannot be underestimated just how much of an impact this series has had. If it wasn't for this show, thousands of people wouldn't have been invested and interested in trains like they are now, and people wouldn't associate certain steam engines with Thomas. People who used to watch the show as kids may stick with it, and as the years go on, they find a better appreciation for not just the show, but the history of the railways, engines, and the books the stories are based on. Thomas the Tank Engine is an icon of children's television, and if it wasn't for this, I don't know where I and hundreds and thousands of others would be now. After 36 years and 584 episodes throughout its run, Thomas the Tank Engine would come to an end on the 20th of January in 2021, for reasons we'll get to soon. The Island of Sodor. The Island of Sodor is the main setting of every iteration of Thomas, located in the Irish Sea between England and the Isle of Man. Almost every story and every main character lives on the Island of Sodor, or has been to it at some point. The origin of the name Sodor actually originates from the real-life Kingdom of the Isles, a Norse Gaelic kingdom comprised of the Isle of Man and various islands, which was also known as Sodor, and had been around since as long as the 9th century, until the 13th when it later became a part of the Kingdom of Scotland in 1266, and its history is reflected in the railway series' Middle Ages, which does in fact mean the Island of Sodor is, or was, real. Just not in the way you'd think, and before steam engines were even thought of. The Diocese of Sodor and Man is still around to this day, and they have acknowledged Wilbert's usage of its history on its website. The island's history is very rich and deep, as you'll find out soon. Narrators. The TV series is best known for having a narrator for all its episodes, and the show has had 9 during its run, those being Ringo Starr, narrator of the first and second seasons in the UK, but also narrated in the US for Shining Time Station. There's George Carlin, who was the narrator for the first and fourth seasons of the show in the United States. Michael Angelis, who took over as narrator after Ringo Starr left, voicing from Season 3 to Season 16 in the UK, and is the longest-running narrator for the series. There's Alec Baldwin, who narrated for Seasons 5 and 6 in the US, Michael Brandon, who narrated from Season 7 to Season 16 in the US, Pierce Brosnan, who narrated for The Great Discovery and was intended to narrate for Season 11, and Mark Morgahan, who is the narrator from the 17th and 21st seasons in both the UK and the US. Come the Big World Big Adventures rebrand, and the voice actors for Thomas in both the UK and US, John Hassler and Joseph May respectively, took on the role of narrator from Season 22 all the way to Season 24. The Railway Series. The Railway Series is the book series created by Wilbur Awdry, first writing the stories in 1942 for his son Christopher Awdry, who was sick with measles at the time. He wrote them after he and his wife had already gone over the rest of the nursery rhymes they had, so he wrote new stories that hadn't been told before. Wilbur didn't intend on publishing these stories, but his wife Margaret Awdry thought they were good enough to be published. So, on the 12th of May in 1945, over 80 years ago now, he approached Edmund Ward Publishers, and the 3 railway engines was sold to the public. After a few years, Wilbur would retire from writing stories for the series in 1972, with 26 books made, and the series was later continued by his son Christopher in 1983. The final book in the series was published in 2011, with Thomas and his friends. The legacy of these books are forever remembered, as a handful of these stories would later be adapted for Thomas the Tank Engine. Britt Allcroft. Born on the 14th of December in 1943, Britt Allcroft was the one who adapted the Railway series to television, which you will know as Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. While she's best known for working on Thomas, she also created the Magic Adventures of Mumphy and made a remake of the series Captain Pugwash. In 1987, she founded the Britt Allcroft Company. Chances are, if you've ever watched Thomas, you've certainly seen the logo for her company before the intro. Britt would be heavily involved with the series and the movie until the end of season 7, after the poor reception of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. She hadn't been involved in the series since, but is still credited throughout the series until it ended. She would still, on occasion, talk about the show on her Facebook, where she also denounces All Engines Go in several of her posts, but would also just post info regarding her work on Thomas. She would also occasionally partake in the fandom, most notably appearing at a special screening of An Unlikely Fandom in 2023, a fan documentary going over the impact Thomas had had on the fans of the series. While I was working on this iceberg, however, we found out Britt Allcroft had sadly passed away on the 25th of December in 2024, at the age of 81. Just like Wilbert, Britt's impact on me, the fans of Thomas, and maybe even you, is something that will never be forgotten. If it wasn't for her, Thomas wouldn't be the show we all know and love, and it's really unfortunate she's no longer with us. David Mitton. David Mitton was the director of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, born on the 27th of February in 1939, who is also known for co-creating Tugs. Before his work on Thomas, he worked as a special effects technician in various Gary Anderson productions, like Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet. In 1979, he co-founded Clearwater Features with Ken Turner, who would depart from the company, and Robert D. Cardona, the producer of Thomas the Tank Engine, would take his place. He would serve as a director for Thomas until season 7, much like with Britt Allcroft, where he also helped provide stories, with his last episode being Toby's Windmill. He departed from the series after the last episode of the classic series, 3 Cheers for Thomas, after becoming frustrated with the lack of creative freedom he had in season 6 and 7, and with hit entertainment in general. Afterwards, he worked on various other projects with his newly founded company, Pineapple Squared Entertainment, before he suffered a heart attack on the 16th of May in 2008, and sadly passed away at the age of 69, being announced weeks later. The dedication and work he put into Thomas will never be forgotten, with unforgettable scenes that truly shows just how much Thomas meant to not just him, but to all of us. Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Thomas and the Magic Railroad, you'd get used to hearing me say that a bajillion times in this video, was Thomas's first theatrical movie released on the 9th of July in 2000. You've also probably seen this movie as a kid, as I know a lot of my friends who don't even watch Thomas anymore recall seeing this movie. Despite a lot of people seeing this movie as kids and having quite fond memories of it, the movie was not received well at all, and is by all means a commercial failure, criticized for its confusing story and only barely managed to make back $19.7 million, as it had a budget of $19 million. Despite this, it's still remembered by the cast and most fans quite fondly, with many who still love it despite its flaws. And yeah, it's got a lot of problems, but come on, man, I can't hate this movie. This is gas, I love it. Specials. Specials were annual movies introduced in season 9 of Thomas with Calling All Engines, and would become a mainstay after the Great Discovery, releasing specials every year during the CGI era, with some having theatrical releases in select locations around the world. The last special of the original television series was Big World Big Adventures in 2018. They still did them for All Engines Go though. CGI transition. Much like other shows during the late 2000s and early 2010s, Thomas transitioned into CGI in 2009, with the introduction of Hero of the Rails being released on the 6th of December of that year. The reasoning as to why they retired the models in favor of animation is that it was becoming more expensive to produce the models, so switching to CGI would be more cost-effective. That and it wanted to modernize the series, which was something a lot of other shows did at that time, as mentioned before. See Bob the Builder and Fireman Sam, for example.
Well, I didn't really do anything.
The CGI models were all very faithfully recreated from their original counterparts, being almost exact replicas of them in CGI. The CGI era ran from season 13 in 2009, as mentioned before, all the way to season 24, ending in 2021, following the failure of Big World Big Adventures. I'm surprised people are kind of put off by CGI Thomas. I remember when Netflix posted a clip from the Royal Engine, and somehow it was the first time most people have seen CGI Thomas and absolutely hated it.
That's not my tank engine.
But if I'm being honest, Thomas had it the best. The engines are very faithful to their original models, and in general it just looks very good compared to something like Bob the Builder where they don't even look anything like their original counterparts. Sing-alongs. Sing-alongs were music videos made during the third season of Thomas in 1991, sung by local British children's choirs and produced by Michael Donnell and Junior Campbell. These became a mainstay in the series with changing styles and different singers and musicians until the end of the series, but still is on in its own way in All Engines Go. The Sad Story of Henry misconception. There is a common misconception regarding the story, The Sad Story of Henry, also known as Come Out Henry in the US, where people claim Henry died in the tunnel he was bricked up in, or left in there forever. This is factually incorrect, as the episode, Edward, Gordon, and Henry, has him come out the tunnel to help Edward with the express after Gordon breaks down. This is often spread to make Thomas look darker than it actually is, usually by journalists and clickbait sites, along with other claims of the Fact Controller being an evil dictator or something. I don't know, it's so damn stupid. Official website. www.thomasandfriends.com was, as the name implies, an official Thomas website fans could go on, created by the Brit Allcraft Company in 1996. On this site, you can play flash games, learn about the engines and characters, and watch videos. I have a lot of fond memories of staying up late as a kid, going on this site and playing that one Trackmaster and building game. The site stuck around for decades, getting a few changes and overhauls here and there, and also had various mini-sites based on the latest special out at the time. Eventually, however, the site would go offline in the fourth quarter of 2021. If you were to type in the original website, you'd now be directed to the shop.mattel.com Thomas section. The original website is still accessible through the Wayback Machine though. Thomas and other media. With Thomas being so popular, it was bound to appear in numerous television shows, video games, and other kinds of media. Throughout the years, numerous TV shows have referenced or mentioned Thomas in one way or another, whether it be characters or locomotives that are based on the engines, or are brought up directly in something.
It's like a Thomas the Tank Engine, we can go inside. With no Sir Topham hat to tell us what we can and can't do.
In most other instances, Thomas toys will appear in shows and movies, usually as a prop of some kind. Ben 10 Life has made a great video going over every Thomas cameo seen throughout shows and movies. I highly recommend it, and it'll be in the description for you to watch.
I'm going to die, children, and so will you someday.
Merchandise. Thomas is huge in toys. Hundreds of merchandise ranges have been made to sell various different kinds of Thomas toys. Some motorized and electric, some push-along. Some made before the show existed, some introduced in All Engines Go. The first ever kind of merchandise we had was from a press-out model book that came with pre-cut cardboard engines that you could fold into the shape of them, featuring Thomas, Gordon, James, Percy, and Annie and Clarabelle, all illustrated by Reginald Dalby. We've all had some kind of Thomas merch before, and some of us may even have a specific range we're fond of. I know I have some. The Northwestern Railway. The Northwestern Railway, or NWR, is the main railway network on the island of Sodor, and is present in virtually every iteration of the series, being formed by Wilbur Awdry on January the 1st of 1948. The Northwestern Railway came to be thanks to various other railways that once existed on Sodor, all coming together to form the railway we know now, following a government-sponsored amalgamation in 1914. It was meant to work as a strategic railway during World War I. After the war effort, the line was left to its own devices, no longer needed by the government, leaving it in a very dire spot with the fat director needing to find ways to operate his railway, leading him to purchase various different engines on loan and a few familiar faces that stuck around. The O-face. The O-face is an infamous aghast face used in the first 2 seasons of Thomas, and in the pilot. Its most memorable appearance is from Thomas and the Fish, and is most iconic for its very detailed and somewhat egregious expression, and the music cue that follows it.
"Inspector," he whispered, "can you see fish?"
It gained popularity through various YouTube poops in the early 2010s, like from Keeper of Porridge's usage of it,
Be careful, Henry, you're not pulling the flying kipper now.
and Baiko's Island Films, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, whose video of the O-face is a tribute to the aforementioned Keeper of Porridge's. The popularity of it died as the years went on, much like with any other meme, but still used here and there in various memes and YouTube poops. All Engines Go. All Engines Go is the most recent iteration of the series, and currently ongoing on TV and some streaming services, set in a cartoony world where the main casts are children and others are older, wiser teachers. The show has gotten significant backlash for Mattel's approach to this new show, criticized for being unrealistic and too childish compared to what Thomas was before, along with kids who watched the original series completely disowning Thomas and even almost bursting to tears over it. Despite the backlash it's gotten, it still has a following in the fan community. I'm personally neutral about the show. I'm not the target demographic for it, and as such, it's just not my thing. But I'm glad others out there can learn to appreciate it. Quick update. Yeah, All Engines Go is over, or will be over soon, depending on when I upload this. Wait, no, it is over. It's May the 27th of 2025. The show's over. The 4th season of the show is said to be the finale, as Mattel hasn't greenlit any other seasons as of now and isn't likely to, and the studio that animated the show, Nelvana, is apparently shutting down soon. Which means we're going into a hiatus, I think. I don't know. I don't think this has ever happened to Thomas before. Maybe once we start getting info about that upcoming movie, we'll get more new Thomas stuff soon, but until then, we'll just have to wait and see. So, yeah, All Engines Go is coming to an end after 4 years. And what a year to end it on, the 80th anniversary. Shining Time Station. Shining Time Station was an American TV series made to introduce Thomas and Friends to the United States, created in 1989 for PBS. This show isn't related to the original lore of the series in any way, creating something completely different to better fit with the American audience. The island of Sodor is treated more like another universe than an island in the real world. The show went on for 3 seasons and was generally well received, until it ended in 1995. Chances are, if you grew up with Thomas in the 90s in the United States, you probably grew up with Shining Time Station. Thomas in meme culture. Thomas is often used in a lot of various memes, some dating back to the YouTube poop era as mentioned before with the O-face. Some of these are often used as reaction images or in various video game mods, such as Skyrim, which notably replaces the dragons, or Dove, with characters from the show, and various other mods that turn Thomas into a big walking nightmare. Leus, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, has made an amazing video going over Thomas's presence on the internet. I highly recommend watching it. Thomas Land. There are 2 different Thomas Lands, one in the UK and one in Japan, with the one in the UK being named the Drayton Manor theme park. There was also one in the US at the Edaville Railroad in Massachusetts, both closed after their license with Mattel wasn't renewed following the 2020 pandemic, being rebranded as Alpine Village and removed anything referencing Thomas. Anyway, these are simple children's amusement parks with various rides and displays. Drayton Manor is special in the case that houses a dozen screen-used props from the show. Oh, but we'll get to that soon. Day Out with Thomas. Day Out with Thomas is a tourist event held in various railways around the world, created by Ghislaine Entertainment in the 1980s, that also has some activities for children. Engines at these railways are decorated with faces reminiscent of the ones from the show, and even the railway series. Some railways have scratch-built replicas of the characters that are near spitting images of them from the show, though a lot of these, particularly in the US, are dummy units, meaning they can't actually move on their own and need to be moved with the help of another engine. Crashes. By far, one of the most memorable things from the show are the over-the-top, sometimes pretty brutal, crashes. Also referred to as accidents. Chances are you have a favorite crash. I've got several. They're so iconic that they made a whole damn song about it, and it's like the best thing ever, man. The first ever crash in the series dates all the way back to Thomas the Tank Engine in 1946, where James has his crash. The first on-screen, or on-print, crash was in Thomas in the Snow, and ever since then they've been a main staple in the series, some more severe than others. So much so that in 2003, a British psychologist by the name of Brian Young grew concerned over the amount of crashes in the show and how severe they are, worrying it may make children afraid to ride the trains in real life and fearing that what happens in the show could happen to them. It got so bad that ITV, one of the networks that once aired the show, had to reassure parents that the show is in fact suitable for children. You know, if the big colorful trains with faces wasn't obvious enough. And I think kids themselves aren't even scared of the crashes at all.
Do you think it's scary?
No. In my video, there's about 11 crashes.
While there seems to be no comment from anyone who worked on the show, it could be likely the "no one was hurt" line said in later episodes was added to reassure the audience that the accidents don't hurt people, just the engines.
No one was hurt, but poor Gordon felt very undignified.
And also that a lot of the crashes later on in the series are a lot less severe, at least during the hit era. Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell. Mike O'Donnell, born on the 10th of March 1952, and Junior Campbell, born on the 31st of May in 1947, are the first composers of Thomas the Tank Engine, who created several themes and songs for the classic seasons, most iconically the intro theme song. They were also the voice of the Troublesome Trucks, who made the iconic laughs we know them for in the classic era. The two would continue working on the show until 2003, where Hit Entertainment bought the rights to Thomas and they both left the show, being replaced with Robert Hartshorn. While Junior Campbell hasn't been involved with Thomas ever since, to my knowledge at least, Mike O'Donnell has. He has his own YouTube channel where he posts music used in the show and different renditions of it, and has also been in interviews with various fans. His info will be in the description if you'd like to check them out. Jack and the HotR Construction Company. Jack and the HotR Construction Company, also referred as Jack and the Pack, and has a significantly better name, is a miniseries created in 2006 by Fehrle, but was thought of back in March of 2001, featuring various non-rail construction vehicles and their shenanigans, with Jack the Front Loader as the main protagonist. This spin-off was created to appeal to a slightly older demographic that were interested in toys that could push and pull, load and unload. 13 episodes were made, but 26 were originally thought of. Any future plans for the series were taken out back and put down like a sick dog when Ghislaine was bought out by Hit, as they didn't want the series to compete with Bob the Builder, relegating it to a mini-series. It was also far too expensive to continue, and just like that, the series was no more.